Hello and welcome to the latest Lukozer retro game review video. And if you were around back in the day, you will instantly recognise this picture and what game it is, as if the title of this video hasn't already told you. But before I tell you...
First, there was Menace. Now, Psygnosis presents a DMA design game. Blood money.
There's a whole lot more coming.
The biggest unanswered question is where is the money?
There's a whole lot more coming.
The biggest unanswered question is where is the
There's a
money?
whole lot more coming.
Where is the money?
Now, you may be sitting there thinking, hey, that music was quite lively and fun. Or you may be sitting there thinking, hey, that music was a great trip down down memory lane to the 80s. Or maybe, like me, you are sitting there thinking, that was possibly the most fucking unbearable sack of shit that passes as music that I have ever heard in my entire life. And not only do I think that now, I thought that the first time I heard it. It's bad enough that we have music like, you know, Pump Up the Fucking Volume, and that was the original working title, by the way. Or, you know, Beat This, you know, or just about every song that fucking S-Express did, where it was just some generic dance tune with, you know, a load of bullshit samples that have no relevance to anything whatsoever thrown in over the top. But then you get a fucking computer game coming along doing the same thing, and every fucking cell in my body is just screaming out, fuck off! I wasn't a fan of that intro sequence. It's become quite almost legendary one, mostly for its first there was Menace bit, and not only has that made it legendary, but so have impressions of that intro done by the likes of Gans Teeth, which has to be heard to be believed. Take it from me. Anyway, this is Blood Money for the Commodore Amiga. Like Menace, which this is the sequel to, even though it has absolutely fuck all to do with Menace, this is another game that I did the Commodore 64 version of, even though back in the day it was the Amiga version that I had. So if you've seen the Commodore 64 review, you've got a pretty good idea of what to expect. If you haven't, then this fucking demo should give you a pretty good idea. It is a shoot 'em up with, well, what are quite clearly defined, but at the same time unbelievably bland graphics, and a soundtrack that singularly fails to bring about anything remotely resembling a sense of excitement. In fact, this soundtrack is more likely to send you into a fucking coma. So, I mean, this particular piece of music plays all the way through it. so what we will do is end the demo. So you've heard the music, it's dull and uninspired, so we will change it to sound effects. Right, so we've got the sound effects in the game. Now bearing in mind with this game you can have one or the other. You cannot have both. So you would think, well, the special effects must be pretty fucking impressive then, because you know, that music wasn't exactly inspired, and yet it can only do one or the other. Well, here we go. So we'll start a one-player game. Now, unlike the Commodore 64 version, you can select your starting world within reason. Now we have 200. Well, it's $200. It is the dollar sign. And here is your choice of world. So this first one here, with the helicopter, which will cost you 100. So you'll have $100 of money at the start of it. That's the level that I did in the Commodore 64 version. So I'll show you the second level, which is the underwater one, where you're in the submarine. These bottom two levels, obviously I need more money before I can do them. This one costs 300 to start there, this one costs 400. You'll notice that each of the worlds are designed to represent the four ancient elements. So we have earth, air, well, earth here, air, fire and water. That's about the limit of the sort of thought that has gone behind this, because everything about this game screams out generic. So the level's loading, I think, yep. Right, here we go. So you're in this submarine, and that's the sound effects. Now the sound effects were done by David Whittaker. I mean, if you have David Whittaker on board for the audio, surely you would get him to do the music, but no, they didn't. They got someone else to do the music, and you can hear what a wonderful fucking job he did of it. So, yeah, you don't lose a life the instant you are hit, you lose energy, so it does give you a sense of being able to carry on, even if you've, you know, taken a shot or two. Now I've only got 70 in you know, money, so that's not enough to buy any power-ups, as I've been hit again. So, something that you will notice about this game, if you haven't noticed it already, is the difficulty has been, well, it has skyrocketed, which isn't, you know, helped by the fact that your weaponry is pathetic, and even if you, like, you know, fully upgrade your weaponry to, you know, as much as you can, it's still pretty pathetic. And as soon as you lose a life, you lose all of your weaponry, so it doesn't matter how much you spent, you know, on your upgrades. As soon as you lose a life, it's all gone. And speaking of all gone, that's my last life gone. There you go. The difficulty level is ridiculous, as you could see. I mean, these were just, you know, the first few waves that I came up against, and you know, I couldn't really do fuck all. We'll start another game. This time I'll show you the first level, and I'll put the music back on. Then yeah, we'll do the first level so you can see how it graphically compares to the Commodore 64 version, and how in terms of difficulty it compares to the Commodore 64 version. Alright, so level 1 is loading. And it's not as if each level is short in any way. They are all roughly the same length, and they all can take something in the region of 20 minutes to do one level. So, I mean, the difficulty level is, yeah, astronomical, and you have a hell of a task as, well, trying to get anywhere, really. The other thing is the borders at the top and bottom. If you touch them, of course, you'll lose energy. But with the music playing, you've got no idea if you are touching them. And right, well, I could get some upgrades, but yeah, I'll try now. Especially as that thing that just appeared on screen takes your money. So we'll get the rear fire. I'll get the upward fire as well. So that's all my money gone. But I'm not quite fully decked out, but I'm not far off it. If I had the downward fire, then that would essentially be me fully decked out. But I mean, look at the, and then of course you lose a life there. But, I mean, that's all the firepower you get. It's pathetic. And then you have, you know, so the astronomical difficulty thrown on top of it. You have the music, which is, well, there are two pieces of music in the game. There's this one, which is just boring and does not convey any sense of excitement whatsoever, which in a way makes it a suitable piece of music for the game, because the game fails to, you know, portray any kind of excitement either. And then you have that first piece of music after the intro sequence, which, as I say, is certainly ranks among the shittiest piece of music I've ever heard in my entire life. So this Amiga game does not have a great deal going for it at all. In fact, I would go so far as to say it doesn't have anything going for it at all. It's awful. No, it's once again, it's typical Psygnosis fodder. Except that in the case of this one, it's not even that, because it doesn't have any style. I mean, okay, it has no substance, so in that regards, yes, it is absolutely typical Psygnosis fodder, but there's no style either. It's just shit from start to finish. I'll score it 0 because it just has no redeeming qualities whatsoever. It's not so shit as to you know, deserve going into the minuses, but it doesn't deserve a score of any kind at all. So Blood Money, 0 out of 10. Far too fucking hard, far too fucking boring, and just far too fucking shit. So that brings this video to an end, and we will see you at the next one.